Oba Femi wrecks Dominik and JD. Judgment Day gets destroyed. Raw turns into chaos. Dominik and JD crushed. New force emerges on Raw. What really happens when a powerhouse like Oba Femi finally decides he's done waiting for opportunities and just starts taking them, and more importantly, who exactly thought it was a good idea to stand in his way? And when you look at Dominik Mysterio and McDonagh walking into that situation on WWE RAW, were they walking into a match, or were they walking into a message that had already been written before the bell even rang? Because the more you replay that moment in your head, the more it feels like something was off from the start. Not just tense. Not just heated. But that quiet kind of dangerous where everyone in the arena can feel something is coming, but nobody wants to be the first to say it out loud. And that's the thing about nights like this on Raw. They don't always announce themselves. There's no warning label. No flashing sign that says, hey, maybe step back a bit, this is going to get ugly. It just happens. So let's talk about it. It starts with that familiar WWE atmosphere. You know the one. The crowd is loud but not fully locked in yet. People are still finishing snacks, still checking their phones, still half distracted. Commentary is doing its usual warm-up rhythm, setting the stage like everything is normal. But then you notice it. That shift. The camera lingers a little too long. The music feels like it's teasing something. The energy in the arena doesn't rise all at once, it creeps up, like a slow pressure building in the back of your head. And then they show up. Dominik Mysterio, always carrying that mix of confidence and irritation, like he's constantly one sentence away from either getting booed out of the building or proving someone wrong. JD McDonagh right beside him, calmer but in that unsettling way where calm doesn't mean safe, it just means controlled. And you already know when those two are together, something is usually brewing. Maybe strategy. Maybe chaos. Sometimes both. But what they didn't fully calculate was the fact that Oba Femi wasn't in the mood for either games or patience. Now here's where it gets interesting, because the match or segment or confrontation, whatever you want to call it, doesn't even feel like it begins properly. It feels interrupted. Like reality just refuses to follow the script for a second. There's a pause. A beat too long. And then the shift happens. You hear the reaction first before you even see it clearly. That sudden rise in crowd noise where people are still trying to process what they're reacting to. And there he is. Oba Femi doesn't walk out like someone hoping for a reaction. He walks out like someone expecting it. Like he already knows the outcome and is just there to collect it. No rush. No hesitation. Just that steady presence that makes everything else in the ring feel smaller. And I don't know if you notice this, but there's always that moment in wrestling where two worlds collide. One side is talking strategy, planning, maybe even arguing. The other side is already halfway through the ending. That's exactly what this felt like. Dominik and JD barely get time to adjust before the tone changes completely. And I mean completely. Because Oba doesn't come out there to pose. He doesn't come out there to exchange words that nobody remembers 5 minutes later. He comes out there like the conversation already ended backstage and nobody told the cameras yet. Now, I know some fans will say, well, that's just how WWE works, it's scripted chaos. Sure. But there's still a way moments feel. And this one felt like someone just flipped a switch from storyline to survival. The first contact isn't even clean. It's not a back and forth. It's not even a fight yet. It's a statement. And the ring becomes less of a performance space and more like a containment zone. Dominik tries to create distance, which honestly, you can't blame him for. That's usually the smart move when you're dealing with someone who hits like a moving wall of impact. JD tries to step in, probably thinking numbers change the equation. Sometimes they do. This wasn't one of those times. Because Oba Femi doesn't react like someone who's overwhelmed. He reacts like someone who just realized there are more targets. And that's when things start breaking down fast. You can hear it in the crowd, those half-shocked reactions where people are cheering, booing, and laughing all at the same time. It's that weird WWE blend where violence is somehow both shocking and entertaining, and nobody's fully sure which emotion they're supposed to commit to. At one point, you almost catch yourself thinking, okay, someone's going to stop this. But nobody does. And that's where the chaos really settles in. Dominik gets knocked back first, and the way it happens isn't elegant. It's not dramatic in a choreographed sense. It's abrupt. Like a door being slammed shut mid-sentence. JD tries again, and you can see the frustration building now. Not just pain, but that realization that the usual rhythm isn't working. The usual counters aren't landing. The usual escape routes aren't there. And in wrestling, that's when panic starts creeping in. Because when your plan stops working and your opponent doesn't slow down, what exactly are you supposed to do next? That question hangs in the air for a second, even if nobody says it out loud. And Oba? He doesn't rush. That's the part that makes it worse. There's no urgency. No desperation. Just control. And control is scarier than aggression sometimes. At this point, the crowd is fully locked in. You can feel it even through a screen. The noise is no longer random, it's focused. People are reacting to every movement like they're trying to predict the next hit before it lands. And still, nothing about this slows down. Dominik and JD are now in that frustrating zone where every attempt to regain momentum gets shut down almost immediately. It's like trying to restart a conversation with someone who has already left the room emotionally. And if you're watching closely, you start to realize something else too. This isn't just about damage. It's about messaging. Because every action here feels deliberate in the way dominance is being established. Not just winning a moment, but rewriting how everyone sees the hierarchy in that ring. And fans online? Oh, they're already going crazy. You know how it goes. One clip hits social media and suddenly everyone becomes a ringside analyst. Too strong. Overpowered. This guy is different. No selling everything. But in the arena, it's simpler than that. It's just survival versus control. At some point, Dominik and JD finally manage to create a bit of separation. Not victory. Not control. Just space. That tiny sliver of breathing room that doesn't mean you're safe, it just means you're not actively being thrown around for a second. And that's when the energy shifts again. Because now the damage is done, but the statement is made. And the worst part? It doesn't feel over. You get that lingering feeling like this wasn't the full message. Just the opening paragraph. Oba Femi stands there, not celebrating in the traditional sense, but more like observing the aftermath. Like someone checking if the point landed. And honestly,